Hi, everyone. It's me, Darlene Corbett, the Unstuck expert. And this is the first time I will be videoing myself along with my podcast. How about that? So you're going to see me put my glasses on and off. But I decided I want to put this on video platforms, not just on my usual Apple, Amazon, Pandora, iHeart. So you get to see me. So for those of you who've never listened to me or heard my podcast, I invite you to listen to my very first one. It's back in 2019. But the purpose of this, I'll just be very brief, is for baby boomers, men and women, 40 plus, who feel stuck. Maybe 50 plus, but 40, and who are ready to get unstuck. I do this because way back, I believe it was in 2016, I believe, I can't remember exactly, but there was a research composition, if you will, research, the outcome of a lot of research that was done that showed that women through 2000 to 2009, ages 44 until 64, became so depressed that the suicide rate increased in Caucasian women 60%. That's a lot. We see this in men, unfortunately. We see this in the seniors, but not in that particular segment of the population. The researchers were baffled. Substance abuse, disappointment in life, financial ruin were some of the variables they thought were the cause. I would agree, but I also would add purpose and connection. A lot of people don't know what to do with themselves after a certain age, and they think it's over, especially women. And you don't see this in the Asian, Hispanic, Latino, or Black community. And my guess is it's because they have a strong community, no matter what age they are. Where you see us, those of us in the Caucasian community, less connected, families are smaller, so on. I don't know, but the bottom line is we need to prevent that. And that's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, mainly actually. I'm a therapist and a hypnotherapist, and I have witnessed people coming out of stuckness. So I had taken a break from July until December. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to continue my podcast. I thought, is anyone listening? Does anyone really hear this? I think that's a song or some theme of a song by Chicago, the group Chicago. Is anyone really listening, or does anyone know what time it is? Or I'm getting them confused, but you know my point. But there are people download my podcast, not many, but steady. How about that? And I think there's a few new ones. And I thank you all for joining me. And I'm going to be more consistent. I decided I'm going to keep podcasting because I love to get my message out, which is one of hope, positivity, resilience, and tenacity, not in that order. You have to have resilience. You have to have tenacity. You're going to fall down, though, so you have to have resilience to get back up. And then you have to have hope that something good will shift, something good will come, even if you have this much left in your life. So today, I'm going to continue. Let's see, I didn't do a podcast. I've done this as the 13th. I'm going to try to get in at least 3 a month, at least. So I'm going to get this on before the end of January. What do I want to talk about today? I'm going to update you. I'm going to talk about a scourge throughout the ages, gratitude, and a man named Terry Teachout. I'm going to briefly mention him because I forgot to bring my notes upstairs. I want to talk about the fact that I'm still learning Spanish. And I went to a 3rd class, 3 is a charm, and I didn't do well. To make a long story short again, I contacted Babbel. I realized I was going in the wrong order. Also, and that appeased me. I thank them vociferously. I decided to stay with I wasn't giving up the app, but I was not going to continue my live, but I'm going to, and I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep doing this, whether I become proficient or not. I'm going to keep doing it. And I do pick up some words. It has changed. I need to keep practicing. There's also a podcast, and I forget the name of it, but he's very good too. So between Babbel and this gentleman, and I forget, and I will try to find it, or I'll put it in the program notes so you'll have it. But he's very good. So I slowly but surely am trying to listen and pay attention and take, print out the program notes. So I will persist. I really enjoy it. Me encantan aprendo español. Very much. Very good. Muy bien. All right. Enough about that. The other thing I want to mention is, I'm a writer and I write a lot. And I have a lot of things I could talk about and write about. So much. I have a list, about 4 pages of topics. But I haven't been writing on Medium or Vocal. Vocal, I only did a few things. It was contests, and it really tested out my fiction writing. And I learned that some of my dialogue was off, which is, we're all works in progress. But it was fun imagining. Medium, I have less fiction on there, more, personal development. But I decided my original, the people I started writing for really was 60andMe. I did some on Huffington Post, Thrive Global, but 60andMe was the group. And then finally Biz Catalyst, because Dennis Patoko invited me and I accepted. So to make another long story short, I'm curtailing my writing with Medium. They're a wonderful community, has nothing to do with that. I just can't keep up, not just writing, but reading. We don't have to, but it's nice to reciprocate and give back when people read your stories. Well, I just making sure my microphone is on here. I don't have the time. So I am going to put that aside, just write for Biz Catalyst for a while and do my other writing endeavors, which I told you, and I will share more as it unfolds. I have a major writing project that I hope to be completed. Let's see. Well, totally complete in the next few months. We'll see. But I want to just check the time actually and see how I am doing, because I have only so much time. So I want to talk about 3 things. Those are my latest updates. Who knows what's next? Light bulbs go off for me, and I realize I need to conserve my energies and put them where they need to go. And right now it's my practice, of course, my therapy practice, my writing project, a few articles on Biz Catalyst a month, and learning Spanish along with my personal life. How about that? All right, getting to the point, the Scourge. Scourge. We know there was a terrible threat at a Texas synagogue. The powers to be said it was not anti-Semitism. I would disagree. Anti-Semitism has been around forever. And I'm not developing this theory, but I do agree with it. When you see a rise in anti-Semitism, there's a sickness in a society. Nazi Germany is an example. Soviet Union, they less so, but still, they weren't appreciative of the Jewish community there. I think it's a sickness in our society if we see that rising. We have a very advanced civilization in this country, and is much to the disagreement of some, I believe we're pretty tolerant of differences, even with all this upheaval going on right now. Anti-Semitism is on the rise. It's the one ism that doesn't get talked about. We need to stop it in this society. No one has done more for Western civilization than the Israelis, Jewish community. They're not synonymous, but most Israelis are Jewish. And much of the Jewish community appreciates Israel. We must realize that the Jewish community has advanced Western civilization. And I really believe without the United States and Israel, so goes the West. Even though Israel's not in the Western, it's not in our hemisphere. Well, I'm not sure. Well, whatever. It's not in the West. It's symbolic of the West. They are the most educated people in the Middle East. And I just think it's really important to remind people Jesus was Jewish, and I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic. I'm very much Catholic. I have Jewish blood in me, Sephardic Jewish, and I'm very, very honored. I always thought I might. But we need to, I'm just going to make sure my iPod doesn't go off so we need to remind ourselves that we need to respect and understand a community that's given so much to the West, a very civilized group of people. 5,000 years ago, in the middle of barbarism, this group of people developed laws and moral compass and ethics. Anyone can argue with me. I don't care what anyone says. They were divinely inspired by God, and they follow God. And if you look at most ancient civilizations, they're gone. I really believe because the Israelis believed in God and follow God's dictate. You'll say, well, the Egyptians are still here. They are, but not in that form. Same thing with the Romans and the Greeks, not in that form. What happened to the Phoenicians? What happened to the Philistines? What happened to the Canaanites? There's so many more, and I can't remember how many more. All gone. Bye-bye. I really believe in most godless societies do disintegrate. The Soviet Union didn't survive. It is important. And believe Alexander Solzhenitsyn, I'm digressing, said that the Soviets, or the Russians at the time, I believe, they were part of the Soviets, said, somebody forgot God along the way. I'm paraphrasing. So it's really important that we remind ourselves that I think this is my opinion, anti-Semitism is a result of envy. The Jewish community are the most educated, some of the most educated people. They also have achieved great success in the financial circles, not all, but many. And I believe there's envy, very much so. And people forget about the very hard work. These people have endured pogroms, Holocausts, genocides, and they still survive and they still give back. So stop. Anyone that has a thought and you say you're a religious person, even if you're not, stop. Look in the mirror. If you're jealous, do something about it. Do something that you can rise above. All right. Next, I want to talk about gratitude. After 3 years of having a professional photo on my Facebook, I was thinking, I need to really change that. You know, you change a bit in 3 years. Well, as I was thinking about this one day in the middle of sessions, in between sessions, should I say, I went down to my kitchen and my husband, I see him taking a picture. I said, wait a minute, I smile. And I saw the picture, I really liked it. I said, and they said, well, let me take another. I said, okay, he did. I had a sweater on, I took it off, I had it on. So it looks like 2 different days, but it wasn't. I just happened to have the sweater on one minute and taking it off the other. So I put them on Facebook, one on my profile and one on my page. Wow. Gratitude. People came out of the woodwork. I was like, whoa. People I didn't even know, well, appreciate me. Let's put it that way. I thank them. So I'm very grateful for all the acknowledgement of my new non-professional photo. My husband did well. But speaking of gratitude, I think it's important to talk about those of us who pledge allegiance, believe in the country, sing the national anthem with much pleasure and pride and honor. And there was a podcast, well, an entertainer. He has a podcast. I know many of you heard this. I'm not going to say his name. It's irrelevant. He didn't say anything bad, but he thought it was a weird, he questioned after he was interviewing an owner of a sports team that stopped singing the national anthem before the games. And this entertainer questioned that, you know, it's a weird tradition. Where does it come from? So somebody explained where it came from in the Wall Street Journal, but I think he didn't like it that people challenged his position. Well, I will be glad to reiterate in my own way why we do that. It's gratitude. It's gratitude for living in a free country where he can question that. It's gratitude for all the people that paved their way into our country, allowing us to be able to sing or not sing, to be able to pledge or not pledge. all the soldiers that gave up their lives from all the wars, from those that served in Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam, the Korean War. I'm going backwards. World War II, World War I, the Civil War. So many people think this country is so bad, the Civil War, to bring our union together and to fight slavery. The War of 1812, and then to the Revolutionary War. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a war. But the issue is all those people died. Saving Private Ryan was based on a true story of 6 brothers that died. Yeah. So this entertainer, who is very wealthy, that's the other thing, he would never acquire that wealth in any other country. Maybe, but it'd be taxed to death. Most people don't acquire that kind of wealth. I think he's worth, I looked it up, $120 million. God bless him. And I say that I am very much a celebratory person when it comes to success. And that includes financial. I have no envy about that. I'd love to have some of that myself, but hey, he earned it. He earned it through the entertainment business. He's very funny and good for him. I tell you this because he would not be able to reach that pillar of maybe fame and fortune. Maybe, but most likely not in any other country. So he probably would also sit in a skybox for the world of sports. So if he doesn't want to sing the national anthem, and I've been in one of those skyboxes. I was fortunate years ago, my husband, we had a business and we got once in a while, that was one of the perks for heavy advertising in the newspaper. And we got to sit in those skyboxes when we went to see the Boston Bruins. Only a couple of times, but it was a blast. It's a lot of fun. You go and you have your own box, you go out, you can watch, you go inside, there's food. So this entertainer, if he doesn't want to sing the national anthem or just thinks it's not that important, or maybe he doesn't, I don't know. He can go in the skybox and go get some more filet mignon or Kobe steak or whatever they serve there. I'm sure it's much more high end than what I had, but you can do that. Go to the restroom, and then when it's over, go back out and watch the game. That's the privilege of living in this country. All those people that we thank give us that. Gratitude. We are very, very blessed to have our freedoms to sing or not to sing. All right, I'm just going to check my time again. All right, we have a few more minutes. I want to mention Terry Teachout. And if you've never heard of Terry Teachout, go look him up. He wrote reviews for the Wall Street Journal, the arts, the theaters, the regional theaters especially. He always included them, as well as New York plays. He also was somewhat of a Renaissance man himself. I don't have my notes in front of me, so I'm just going to wing this. I believe he was from Missouri. And what I like about, there's 2 things I'm mentioning Mr. Teachout for. He died unexpectedly at age 65. So being 64 or any age, it's a reminder that anytime, no matter how you live your life. But I think he was a Renaissance man. I think he wrote his own either music or plays or operas. He wrote books, but he was a great reviewer. I didn't read them all. Quite frankly, I read a few here and there, but it was nicely done. But I mention it because he was born and raised in Missouri. And it sounds like from what I read in the obituary, he didn't forget his roots. I think he still enjoyed some of the food. He could marry his foods in high-end places in New York, but also keep in mind of that he grew up with and reminded us of the people that live there. And that is why I mentioned him. We must never forget where we come from, for better or worse. And if you've come from a very toxic environment, think about the good things that were offered in that time. So I tell you about him, Terry Teachout, just like the teacher, Teachout. Look him up. He appreciated where he came from. And that, I think, is quite commendable. So that's it for today. I'm going to try to get one out again really soon. So I have so many things I want to talk about. See, I like to write. I have so many things I like to write about. I have so many things I like to talk about. All right, we'll see how this all came out. And on that note, welcome to, if this is your first time, Get Unstuck now, right now. And I invite you to read my book, Stop Depriving the World of You, which is published by Sound Wisdom. You can find it on Amazon and every other place. Books, Barnes and Nobles, Walden. No, I'm sorry, not Walden. Walden's gone. Walgreens, Walmart, Apple, Kindle, audio. It's an audio version there. I'm very, very thankful they did that for me, the publishers. It was before the pandemic and everything let loose. All right. And you can also visit my website, which is very much in need of a change. Very much. I hope to get that accomplished in this next year. I'm a work in progress, and there's something else. If you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, I'd love you to give me a review or just acknowledge that you listened. And until next time. And so I will play the rest of my music. And bye for now.